getting ready for Giants and Rockies. And yeah, like when we look at the Farhan thing, I do want to throw that out and sort of ask, I get the shortcomings. This I thought was a good text that we just got here a short time ago talking about at 408. If you don't celebrate those that came before you, that shows your insecurity. I agree. I thought that this Giants regime to this point has been a little bit too focused on ego, which I would actually describe as showing everybody that we know the right way. And at times it has been right, and at times it's been very wrong. Fans want to look at things in a much more umbrella view. You know what I mean? Like, simplify this. That's what I would have said to Farhan. You know, if I could, it's too late for advice. It's year 6, and nobody wants my advice. Why would he care? But if I was going to say things, dude, the fans just want simple. Here is the one sentence line. You need more good players. That's it. You don't need to be right. You don't need to have the second baseman in the shortstop position. You don't need flexibility. You don't need people with optionality. You don't need to platoon. Do you understand how much more patience fans would have had if they would look at the team and be like, dude, I get some good players. But they look at the team now for a long period running, and you're just like, I don't know how many good players are here. It feels like a talent-deficient product. Even though that's not fully fair, they do have some pieces. But what you're going up against feels like a completely different animal. And so no one wants to sign up for that. And what I think has been proven is you can't outsmart that. And that's what they've spent about 5 years trying to do. So that is to me, fair criticism.
I do think that this year, though, they did what fans have wanted them to do all along, which is give us players that we can count on every day.
Yes.
Give us players that we know. And I know that Jung-Hoo Lee is not somebody that anybody knew. None of us ever saw him play, but you knew that he was highly touted. And so when they went out and got him, it felt like that was a win. And Chapman, you knew who he was, and Blake Snell, and it felt like they brought in players who at least would be everyday guys. And so to your point, I think that fans over the last 2 or 3 years with a platoon at 7 of 9 spots, it felt like, I don't even know who these guys are. I don't even know if these guys are any good because I don't get to see them 2 days in a row, let alone for a full 9 innings.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the whole picture, though, and that's sort of how I'll, and I don't want to say how I'll remember it. I don't know that this is over. It's far from over. Farhan is not going anywhere, certainly not yet. I think that there is a story to be told here the rest of the year. We'll see where it goes from there. But when I look at where we are to this point, I will remember, a lot of you have loved Lamont Wade. He's a good player. And, he's representative of a lot of good things. And there was late night Lamont. There was all these things that he's been. Now, that's someone that he acquired out of nowhere for a pitcher. I think his name was Sean Anderson. He pulled him from the Twins. It's a phenomenal acquisition. Tyro Estrada, not so good this year, but largely that's been a very good acquisition. I know you, even though we didn't draft him, you've said he gets credit for Ramos. Ramos is here now, and he's doing this. And Patrick Bailey was his first round, his first round draft pick. And look at what Bailey is doing now. Very, very good catcher who you can count on. And this year he did land free agents in the city that can't land a free agent he did. And so there's plenty of stuff where if you really want to be fair, you can look at Farhan Zaidi transactionally and go, okay, I totally see what you're doing, and you've got a lot of wins.
That's why I don't think that he is on as hot a seat as many think. And I know that you've got, more conversations and more intel, but just for me, as a fan from the outside looking in, barring a 70 and 92 finish, which would be a collapse.
Totally.
And, if they wind up in that sort of a state, fine, all bets are off, and, Bomel could be in trouble as well. I don't think so, but If you have that kind of a collapse, that's a different story. But if you wind up right on the edge of the wild card and you just miss out and you show signs, I think that he's done everything that he was expected to do this year. And if they fall short, I don't know if I would be pointing the finger at him as far as blame. I would give him another year.
I understand where you're coming from, and you may well be right. That is, to me, that's the middle ground. If they're contending for a wild card spot to the final week and they don't get it, like, I don't think it's just black and white. Miss the playoffs and you're fired. I don't think it's that. But boy, if they don't make the playoffs, it's a maybe. It is a definite maybe. So transactionally, though, I think he's got a lot to offer. The issue is much more emotional, I think, for most fans, whether they admit it or not. The issue is vibe. The issue is approach, strategic approach. The issue is being very stuck to that model, even when it's not working. And what I think is really, if someone said one sentence, Farhan and Gabe, why did that not connect with fans? Whether this is fair or not, fans feel like they're being talked down to.
Right. My sentence was going to be, they thought they were smarter than the rest of us. Yeah. And it's great when you win 107, and then, his deep voice and his perfectly coiffed beard and the gun show and the hand tats and all the rest of it. It's like, man, Kapler, this guy's amazing. He's got this great voice and he's got his finger on the pulse, and Farhan made this roster actually pop, and with new guys and a couple of the holdovers, and wow, 107, watch out, Sabian, your legacy could be in trouble. And then after that, it's just...
Yeah, Gabe and Farhan are very different guys, though. Gabe did he did make you feel like I'm smart and you're not. Farhan is not actually like that. I just think that he is making baseball decisions and at times is married too much to the formulaic way of doing that as opposed to the human way of doing that.
Right.
And you have to do both. You have to be able to do both.
And I also think, just real quick, when it comes to the connectivity with the fans, the fans want that. And, totally. You want to have a team that is full of guys who you know by just one name or a nickname. If it's the Panda and the Horse and Mad Bum and Buster and all the rest of it, yeah, they won championships, but they were from here, the organization. They won here and they stayed here. And this roster has always felt like a constant churn. And I liken it to the compost pile. I don't know if you've ever done your own compost, but you have the corner of your yard and it's just a heaping pile of stuff. And every 3 weeks or so, you got to get the pitchfork out and you churn that baby over. And after a year or so, you've got some real fertilizer. You got some good soil in there. And that's kind of how Farhan has approached this team and this roster. It's been a constant churn.
You know what that is, by the way?
It's a
fertilization sensation.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I lost my way.